Phil Conover was born and raised in Adams County, Illinois, and has worked tirelessly to serve this area for the past 60 years. We've gathered several of Phil's friends and family members to share their thoughts on the life of this amazing man. Many words can be used to describe his character.
One for certain is integrity.
Phil has patience, and being a person that lacks patience, I appreciate the patience that Phil has.
Any project that Phil does, he's very devoted to. He's very prepared, organized, and forward-thinking.
Creative, talented, courageous.
I would say there's two words that best describe Phil, and that he's a servant leader. And he's shown that in everything that he's done.
He's a patient leader as long as he thinks that he's got all the trains, as he says, running together.
I think for those who've known Dad, they would say he was a doer.
Throughout his career, Phil has worn a number of hats.
He's had several different careers during his time here in Quincy and Adams County.
You could see it at John Wood, you saw it at QU, you saw it here at Greta, and a million different things.
Stockbroker's office was right next door to my law office.
We coached together many years ago at Quincy Notre Dame.
He helped me out with one of the first organizations I was a part of in Mendon.
On the board at Blessing Hospital.
Phil had been a consultant for John Wood, and then he was our Dean of Career Technical Education. Then he came in, he served as our Vice President for instruction.
And along with the serious side came some funny stories.
After he had had 3 interim titles at the college, Dr. Letts conferred a degree of interimology for Phil Conover. And we always kidded about that Phil's got a degree from John Wood Community College, and he's got an Associate of Science in interimology.
Phil would remember many of the times during the Christmas holidays that the staff and Phil and myself and our wives and others would go Christmas caroling late at night, call on students and families, and we just had a ball with that.
His piano playing, and I don't know how many people have heard Phil play the piano, but I can recall very clearly the first time I did. We were at church getting things ready for church, and he and Bonnie were there a little early, and I'm typically there early opening up the church, and we're in the kitchen working, and all of a sudden I hear the piano playing, and I'm thinking, who in the world is playing the piano? Walked around the corner, and there is Phil, and he does this numerous Sundays. He just sits down and plays piano, but the really weird thing is there's no music. He just sits and plays by memory. And when we talked about it one day, he said he probably has about 200 songs in his head that he can just sit down and play, and it's just amazing.
In his tenure as president of Quincy University, Phil has built relationships and fostered a sense of belonging and trust in order to put the school on the path to long-term sustainability.
He has done a fantastic job of just making everyone feel like they're part of a team and part of a greater vision.
If you need somebody to get something done, Phil is the person to go to.
And it's been great working with him. He has such a heart for not only the university but the students.
After years of serving on multiple boards, chairing fundraising campaigns, and serving the communities he calls home, Phil is leaving a legacy that is unparalleled.
He's done so much of giving of himself to this entire tri-state area. He's helped so many different organizations, different agencies, a university, economic development. I think, he's, as they say, job well done, my son.
Whether it be the faculty, the students, the board, administration, and the townspeople, he was able to pull them all together.
I never expected a 75-year-old man to be my mentor in life, but he is, and I've really enjoyed every conversation I've had with him.
Many years ago, Phil had the idea to try to celebrate what makes Unity great, and over the years we've had several different things that we focused on. Athletics, art, education, and agriculture is what we've done so far. Phil's goal with that was to try to show people that even from our small community of Mendon, we have people that have had great success in many different fields.
I think his other legacy is as a father and a grandfather, and his family. You know, he absolutely loves his family and takes great pride in his family.
I think it's really going to be very, very difficult for Phil when he leaves. A lot harder than he would have ever imagined.
When he goes out and plays the piano at one of the nursing homes, I mean, it's little things like that people remember him for. But I think for myself, it's going to be the person that saved Quincy University.
I kid him all the time. Is this it, Phil? Are you going to finally step away from this stuff? And I remember one time running into his son Eric at a gas station. We were across from each other, and it was after Phil had kind of announced he was going to retire, and I looked at Eric and I said, "Is your dad really going to retire?" And he looked at me, and I said, "Eric, he's not retiring." He goes, "I don't think so."
You've been a great dad, a very dedicated father, husband to my mother, and dad to me and my siblings, and a great example of a man here in Quincy.
For everybody out there who's, you know, celebrating Phil's accomplishments, he's touched so many lives that, you know, I think it's maybe time to give Phil a pat on the back, and he's pretty humble, so he's probably not crazy about that, but I do think it's time for people to say thanks, you've made a difference.
Phil has always told me that you, in the present moment in life, you are the summation of your past experiences. So he's advised me to always take the first step and put myself out there so that I can grow and become the best person I can be.
I wish Phil the best of luck. I hope he actually stays retired this time. And thank you, Phil, for all you've done for me and for Quincy University and for all the organizations you've been a part of.
I will say, and many of us will say, that you've had a significant impact on our development as young leaders, and you are a franchise professional. Thank you for all that you've done for Quincy University, for this community and the tri-state area. And we only wish you the best in your retirement. Good luck. We love you, and we'll see you around town.